What's up, everybody? Renfail here, back for another Diablo 4 guide, and I hope you have all been doing well, no matter where you are in the world. We are here with my rogue marksman as I continue to play through the game. I've still not beat it. I'm 40 plus hours in, taking my time. I'm definitely not one of those power gamers, and the build that I'm playing is a very relaxed marksman build. I just did a video on that actually on my Ultimate Beginner's Guide to my Tier 1 Adventurer. But today I wanted to talk a little bit about the stats, because I'm still learning the stats, but I think it's one of the most complex stat systems. And it sounds funny to me because, when you play this game, it often feels like it's just a bunch of mindless slaughter, right? Especially if you're on the easier difficulties. But as you get increased difficulty, there become increased challenges, and it's a lot like I find like the Pillars of Eternity games, as an example, have a lot of very complex mechanics in place that don't really affect you when you're playing on Tier 1 like I am. But as you get into the harder difficulties, they become very important to manage. So I've been looking at them and learning them a little bit, because we're about to start stepping into Tier 2 and Tier 3 and beyond. So I thought this would be a great chance to kind of go over these together in sort of a newbie's guide, because I am very much a newbie to this game like most of you. So let's check this out. So when you go over to your character, I'm on the controller, by the way. I'm playing on the Xbox Series X. So you go over here, and you go to your character. It says stats and materials. You can hit the L button. So we're going to open that up. And right off the bat, we get this list of things. Gold, obols, red dust, and then we get into your core stats, the level of your character, and this is where we start to realize just how complex Diablo 4 really is, and why I highly urge you, because even in Tier 1, I recently did a dungeon, I think it was called Dark Ritual. I couldn't beat the boss with my particular spec by myself. I tried and tried and tried on Tier 1, could not beat that boss, which some might say that shows ineffectiveness in your build, and it's just like, no, it's just I've spec'd away and I hadn't figured out that encounter yet. So I went back and did it with a couple of friends. It was a piece of cake the first time around. But that led me to go back and realize, oh, I haven't actively upgraded or slotted gems into my gear for like 15 levels. And I still need to do it today, as you can see, because I finished a session last night and got a bunch of new gear, and I have not yet taken the time to go through and gem all those pieces up yet. But these stats become hugely important in boss fights, not so much in the base game and the general adventuring, but on boss fights, all of this stuff becomes super important. So if you want to really understand the game, I've learned that it's best to educate yourself on these things. So these are just your core stats, which affect your character more or less. But then we get into some of the really important stuff, which is like, what's your attack speed bonus? Haste is really important for the characters who are using weapons, but there's also the critical strike chance. Also very important, so that when a skill does damage, it has a chance to critically strike. Right now it does 90% bonus damage. You can adjust all of these through gear decisions along with your critical strike damage. Some of these to some degree are also impacted by your core stats, but these are very important to go through: damage versus daze, damage versus stun, so on and so forth. Vulnerable damage, all these things. Because depending on who you group with, these stats can become more or less important, because it's also about the synergy between the classes. So if you're playing with a regular group of friends, you guys can sort of plan your group out together based on all of your unique bonuses, so that you're getting the most out of it. For example, grouping with Gila the other night, we were experimenting with the fact that, like, when he's grouped with me, one of his abilities immediately does a vulnerability to the mobs that normally it doesn't do. So there's a synergy happening there. And there's also the thing where when mobs are frozen, he gets a bonus damage and things of that nature. So I, being able to freeze my enemies with my cold traps and everything else, am more than happy to provide him with lots of opportunities to freeze the mobs, because it's the synergy. So this all becomes really cool and important as you get deeper into it. Thorns are the fun one. Deals direct. It's a damage shield. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Defensive, of course, your maximum life, potion capacity, your healing bonus. So if you're going to be in a tank position, you want this to be as high as possible. But also your armor contribution. Now, here's where we get into fun stuff like your fire resist, cold resist, lightning resist, shadow resist, so on and so forth. These resists, just like in any other MMORPG you've ever played, and if you've never played one, let me explain this part to you. Veterans are already going to know this. Resistances are a huge component to any sort of, boss, mob, end game, group based encounters. So as you start to get leveled up and you start to get gear less and less frequently, you can start to compile set pieces and have a set that gives you fire resistance, have a set that gives you cold resistance, have a set that gives you lightning resistance. So don't be afraid to hold on to pieces you find that have really good resistance on them, even if their stats might not be perfect. Now, obviously, there's level disparity in play, so if you're 20 levels beyond it, that might not necessarily be the case. But if you're talking to something, 3-4 levels ago, you can probably hang on to it, because it's got really good resists. Then there's the what's up, everybody? Commercial break here. I got to give a shout out to our guild champions. It's the highest tier membership here on YouTube. We got Ancient Entity, Crazy as Relative, and Remy D. Thanks so much for your support. And of course, to all of the members here on YouTube, thanks for keeping me on the air full time. If you do like what you see and hear on my channel, don't forget to not only like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon, but please support. Consider me your Netflix, your Hulu, your Disney Plus, or HBO, whatever you want to call it. You can do memberships here on the channel starting at $3 a month. And of course, anytime you see me live or you watch a premiere, you can do super chats and stickers on those videos and super thanks on any upload you see, which allows me to keep doing this full time and paying the bills. So from Chris and I and all of our rescue cats, we say thank you. Let's get back to the video at hand. Energy regen and movement speed, lucky hit chance bonus, which I have none of right now, which sucks. And then your if you're into PvP, your damage reduction and armor contribution. Now, I'm never going to PvP, so that part of it doesn't really apply to me. But I have found as we've gotten deeper into the multiplayer component that paying attention to the resistances has made certain encounters much easier because the boss mobs can't do as much damage to you, which is really helpful for survival. We had a fight that we did last night during multiplayer where the mob was doing this spell, and I don't know that we have had a chance to look into what that damage was yet, but I could take 3 or 4 hits from that spell, and Gila's character I think got one shot like several different times during the fight. So I obviously have a higher resistance for whatever that type of damage was, and there may be factors like my dodge and everything in here. I don't remember where dodge is at, but somewhere in here. Probably under my defensive. Some of that's probably playing into things as well. So really cool place to look at all of your core stats here on the main page. You can also hit the RT button if you're on controller and look at all the plants you've harvested or ores you've mined, skins you've got. You can take a look at all of these if you need to, and how to where you're going to use this for your recipes and so on and so forth. But yeah, that's your offensive and defensive stats, your core stats, and so on and so forth. I'm learning more about this. Things like, your attack power, and etc. being important for certain things. It's definitely a complex system, and I'm not one of those people who's like, I know everything about Diablo IV. This is why you need to listen to me. I'm more like, hey guys, I know a few things. I can share that knowledge with you, but I'm still learning the game, and I still am educating myself on all that stuff. So hopefully, if you like all that kind of stuff and the way that I present things, you'll follow along for more, because we obviously are continuing. I'm going to be leveling up this rogue through the campaign, then I'm going to turn around and do a sorcerer through the campaign, and then I want to do a druid as well. And then once I've got 3 characters leveled up, I'll probably be picking one of those who's going to become like the main that I play through, like the expansions and any of the seasonal stuff that I want to play through. Maybe even this, the battle pass stuff. I don't know yet. So anyway, thanks for listening, everybody. Hope you're going to have a good day, great day, excellent day, all of those things. I love zooming in, by the way. I mean, this is the default view, but I really like getting up close and personal when I'm in towns, because it makes me feel like I'm playing an old, like Baldur's Gate game. It's really cool. Anyway, folks, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. See you all next time. Stay safe out there. Don't get bit by anything evil.